Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Whiskey Wednesdays. My name is Daryl Lim and I'm your host. This week's episode is dedicated to all the dads out there that are celebrating Father's Day this weekend. If you have a dad who is also a whiskey lover and haven't found him a gift yet, then you'll want to tune in for some amazing gift ideas. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. You can browse and watch my other whiskey reviews on this channel. I welcome any feedback that you have so we can make this journey even better. To help you stay within budget for your gift buying this weekend, I've divided today's review into 3 distinct categories. The first category will feature whiskeys and whiskey paraphernalia under $100. The second category will be focused on whiskeys between $100 to $200. And the third category will be reserved for premium whiskeys over $200. Here are the 7 whiskeys that are under $100. From left to right. 1. The North of 7 whiskey, a local Canadian whiskey. 2. Bruichladdich, the classic Laddie, a medium in bold whiskey. 3. The Macallan Gold, a smooth and light whiskey. 4. The Glenlivet IPA Experiment, a smooth, sweet, and light whiskey. And you can catch that review from last week at the link below. 5. The Auchentoshan 3-Wood, a medium light whiskey. Next is the Laphroaig Quarter Cask, which is rather peaty and bold. It tastes like campfire in your mouth. And last but not least, the Altmore 12-year-old, a bold yet smooth whiskey. My favorites are the Glenlivet IPA Experiment, which is a summer social sipper, and the Laphroaig Quarter Cask with its big, bold flavors. Outside of whiskeys, you have whiskey paraphernalias that you can also get as gifts for under $100. Right here I have a nosing glass, and you'll see me use this in a lot of my whiskey reviews. It's a great glass that you can use for all of your whiskey tastings because of the shape. It allows you to essentially put your nose right in the center, hence why they call it a nosing glass. If your dad prefers more of a Scotch on the rocks kind of a person, then you may want to get something more of this kind of a glass that allows you to put an ice or 2 in there. And also, if your dad perhaps likes wearing a kilt and enjoys having whiskey on the go, then it'd be a great investment to get him one of these whiskey flasks. These are 2 of my whiskey flasks, and of course on the other side I have characters with bagpipes on them. And here are my 7 whiskey picks that are between $100 to $200. From left to right, the Dalwhinnie 15-year-old, a smooth, sweet, and light whiskey that I like to call my dessert whiskey. The Balvenie 14-year-old Carribean Cask. If your dad has a sweet tooth and enjoys the flavor of rum, then this would be the perfect whiskey for him. Next up, we have the Oban 14-year-old, a medium bold whiskey. Then we have the Kavalan Oloroso Sherry Oak. This one from the King Car Distillery in Taiwan makes for a perfect gift. Look at how beautiful that case is. It's a metallic case with a velvet cover to it. And again, if your father has a sweet tooth, then this would be right up his alley. Next up, the Lagavulin 16-year-old. Now changing gears here, if your father has more of enjoys the bold flavors and the peatiness to it, then the Lagavulin 16-year-old is one of the classics for that. The Talisker 10-year-old, another medium bold whiskey. And last but not least, the Dalmore 12-year-old, that's medium smooth. My favorites in this lineup are the Kavalan Oloroso Sherry Oak, as well as the Lagavulin 16-year-old, which is very peaty and bold. The third category for our whiskey review this evening is reserved for whiskeys over $200. This category generally features the premium whiskies for the more discerning gentleman and whiskey lover. If your father has expensive tastes, then he'll want to consider adding one of these 7 whiskies to his collection. From left to right, the Glenlivet Archive 21-year-old, a medium bold whiskey. The Aberfeldy 21-year-old, finished in Madeira cask. This is actually a very unique whiskey that is medium light yet has that splash of sweetness to it. Next is the Royal Brackla 21-year-old. This was the first whiskey that received a royal warrant from Her Majesty Queen Victoria. Next is the Johnnie Walker Blue Label Legendary 8. This is one of my latest acquisitions, and it consists of 8 distilleries in the Highlands of Scotland that each contributed a malt to its making. Extremely smooth, exclusive, and exquisite in taste. Next is the Laphroaig 15-year-old limited edition. This is a special edition whiskey that is medium bold yet spicy in flavor. And next is the Kavalan single malt whiskey that has a very heavy peat to it. And if you watch my whiskey review in previously, if you did a blind tasting between this Kavalan peated whiskey versus any other single malt, for example, the Lagavulin, you could be fooled to think this was from the Highlands of Scotland. And last but not least, we have the Glenmorangie 18-year-old. This is one of my favorite sippers that I have almost a dram a day, and it's very smooth. It's got the beautiful medium bold flavor to it, and it's not overly sweet. It's very hard to pick a favorite among my 7 exquisite whiskeys. Right now, the Glenmorangie 18-year-old is the one that I have at least once a week. And the Johnnie Walker, for its price point, I keep that as a collector's item and drink it only on special occasions. You can purchase many of the above whiskeys at your local whiskey store. But there are 2 websites that I enjoy sourcing my whiskeys from. The first is craftsellers.ca and the second is prestigewines.store. Prestigewines.store is located in Alberta, and for an Ontarian, it actually helps save on taxes, yet gives you a wider selection that isn't necessarily found in the local LCBO. We have come to the end of this week's whiskey review. I hope you enjoyed this Father's Day special edition. I welcome your comments and feedback below. Don't forget to like and share these posts with your friends and fellow whiskey lovers. Until next time, and wishing all of your fathers and dads out there a wonderful and happy Father's Day. Sláinte.